Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. One of the first things I wanted to talk about was creating your environment for success. So I know there's a bunch of you out there that are maybe you think you're too old, maybe you think you're too young, maybe you think you're too inexperienced. For me, I felt too remote. I was literally in the middle of nowhere. I was going through all kinds of things in my personal life. My dog was like dying before my eyes. Everything in my life was going wrong. And I was listening to these podcasts. I'm like in the gym, I'm doing my thing. I'm spending all this time trying to improve my situation. And I was just really struggling. I was struggling to figure out how to create the environment for success and an environment where I could be successful, where I could get to the next level. And one of the things that was really helpful for me was you can do it digitally. Like you can literally virtually create the environment that it takes for you to be successful. And I don't necessarily mean in a manifesting kind of way or whatever, although I do think that that can be possible too. I think the biggest thing is for me, let me just start with the tactical piece. So I forget who it was that was listening to, whether it was Tom Bilyeu or Ed Milet or whoever it was, but it was this conversation around you are the sum of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And I kept thinking about that and I'm like, man, I have like 2 friends in my life right now. Like literally, I left my company that I was working at so that a couple people could save their, that could keep their positions. And I'm like, so I have no income coming in. I'm in the middle of nowhere. I'm like, I want to start a company. I don't know what it's going to be. So confused. I'm so lost. I'm like, literally the closest living thing to me was a herd of cows and maybe some rare species of birds in the mountains. And I kept thinking to myself, this is so hopeless. Like, what can I do? And I realized I was listening to Tom Bilyeu, Ed Milet, Alex Hormozy, Russell Brunson, like a whole group of people, like 24/7. And they're in my ear. And I mean, talking about anything and everything. So I was big into biohacking. I still am. So like eating performance, like eating for cognitive performance, going to the gym and like the whole workout routine, what to eat, how to be healthy. And then all these videos on entrepreneurship. So figuring out how to create funnels, figuring out how to create websites, figuring out, just different parts of the entrepreneurship journey for me specifically was like reducing resistance and all this stuff. And literally around the clock, I would go to sleep listening to these videos. I would go to sleep, listening to podcasts. I would be in the shower, in the bathroom. Yeah, I know. Wild, right? I'd be in the bathroom listening to podcasts. I would be in the gym listening to these podcasts. And 24/7, I was surrounding myself with these people. And the craziest part about it is I began to speak like them. I began to think like them. I began to help other people, which was probably the most significant part of it for me. And so if you don't have maybe the people in your life, the right people in your life, or the ideal people in your life to start your company or to begin your entrepreneurial journey, you don't have to worry about it too much. They're out there on the internet. There's so many incredible people that have made it, and they can really help you get started. You can surround yourself with them. They can be the voice in your ear. They can be the 5 friends, even if they don't know your friends. They can be the 5 friends that help you kind of start to create that environment. And it's a little bit weird because at first it's like, it is a one-way street, right? So I'm not saying this is like the healthiest thing to do forever, but in the situation that I was in where I was really remote and there was no one really around me, this was a way that I could have gotten started with basically just a crappy internet connection and not having to drive all over or fly all over or, in my 30s, figuring out how to make new friends. As crazy as that sounds, it's pretty challenging. So this was a way that I could create that environment for myself just in terms of friends and expanding my mind and learning and growing. So that was one way. Then from there, things evolved for me. So I don't have a whole lot of fears in my life. And so I reached out to a lot of these people directly. I emailed Ed. I reached out to Tom Bilyeu. Like I reached out to all of these people directly to try to get on the phone and learn from them even more, maybe ask a question, maybe take them out to lunch if they were someone that was local to me. And you're going to get 1,000 no's and you're going to get rejected and that sucks. But I started trying to bring them from this virtual environment that I had created into a real world. So that was one way that I tried to progress through that. I think another way was just helping my friends. So one thing that can be hard about helping friends or family is a lot of people that may be going through something don't necessarily want to be helped, or maybe they're not in a position where they realize they need help. They might have a problem, but they're not ready to deal with it, or they're not ready to accept it and improve it. And so you want to be careful who you're helping, and you don't want to force your assistance on somebody if they're not ready yet. You'll be wasting their time and you'll be pushing them away. So, but I was fortunate enough to have a couple people in my life that were in a position. They were not like me. They were very open-minded. They were ready to go. They were working through things and they wanted help from anyone that could help. So I was really lucky to be able to find those people in my life that I was like, hey, I just learned this new thing, probably from Tom Bilyeu, probably from Ed Milet, and I would bring that over, synthesize that in my own, understanding of my friend's situation that they were in, and say, hey, I think if you try this thing, it might help you. And so I literally took this virtual environment and I started creating a physical environment around myself, which helped me transform into the next level of who I wanted to become. So I would say that was the first level for me. Like that was like, I have a friend that talks about entrepreneurship as a video game, and I really like that model because it very much is. It's like you got to get through the boss at level 1, then you get to the next boss, and you're going to need new tools and new ways of thinking for each level. And so that was really how I approached level 1 for myself, was creating this virtual environment. Your environments for success, my view of it is there's so many people that feel so much further ahead than myself. And I know we're not supposed to compare in this whole thing, but there are so many ways to quantum leap other people. And so my personal environment consists of a strong spiritual component. So it's mind, body, and spirit. There's a big gym component for me. I hate the gym. I don't like going to the gym. Clearly, I'm not jacked. I don't look like Alex Hormozi or any kind of bodybuilder, but I go because, number one, I think it's so important while you're creating your environment. One of the rarest things that I think you find amongst people that you see successfully implemented in the lives of entrepreneurs is they do the things that they say they're going to do. They show up for themselves. They believe the words that they speak, right? So like when people don't have confidence, that comes from not having the confidence to know that what you know how many times you've lied to yourself. Myron Golden says that, and I really like that phrase. Is like, if you don't have confidence, it's because only you know when you're actually going to do the thing it is that you said you're going to do. When you are going to follow up, and when you're going to keep relationships with people, or when you're going to fulfill a service or a product or a thing, even when the circumstances change, even when the economy is not working in your favor, and now it might be harder for you to deliver on that thing. Basic stuff. Lila Hormozi says it really well. She's like, I heard an interview with her where she was saying something to the effect of, just let people know. Like, if things changed and the circumstances change, just let them know it's going to be delayed. Hey, I know you might not want to do business with me in the future. I'm going to be delayed. This is the situation I'm in. I apologize. I'm doing my best to deliver on it. But so many people don't even go that far. They just make plans, or they commit to doing a thing, and then they don't show up to be there or to do it or to follow through with that thing. And that lack of integrity, it's not just a personality thing. It will hamper your ability to grow your business, your ability to show up and serve the people that you were put here to serve. So I think it's really important to look at creating your environment as whatever the prongs are for you. It's like a trinity for me: mind, body, spirit. So a way that I can quantum leap maybe Alex Hormozi is by eating really clean foods, eating brain foods. I have a brain bowl that I've created. It looks disgusting. It looks like cold porridge, but it's literally every ingredient in that bowl has been selected to give me optimal performance in terms of cognitive ability, in terms of cognitive performance. So while I might not have the arms of Alex Hormozi, hopefully I can have what he has on his arms in my brain. And so there are ways for you to not just, create this environment that's like great for level 1, but really to set yourself up to have quantum leaps down the road. So I hope that by eating right and by going to the gym and having the diet that I have, that once I find the thing that works, once I get on the path that I'm meant to be on and I'm plugging away on my company and I'm pouring myself into it, that I'm able to just leap past so many other people because I've either learned things early on, which goes back to what environment of people are you surrounding yourself with. And the other piece of it was the diet and exercise piece, which we were just talking about. And then the third piece of it is the spiritual part. I think a lot of people, we hear so much about, what's going on in the mental space, or like people are getting burnt out, or people are depressed, or this or that. Those things are going to happen. Like, they are normal. But if you're plugged in and you understand and you have a strong purpose, I think Simon Sinek talks about his why of like, how our why should be such a strong guiding principle. And I say this as someone that thought mission statements were like bullshit and that they're the dumbest thing ever and that brand is stupid. Like, I used to have such a different contrarian view to what I have today. But when like this video, I'm not comfortable doing these videos. I'm sitting in a kitchen with Christmas cards and junk in the background and everything. And it's awkward for me, but I believe that there are people on the other side of this lens, maybe a year from now, maybe 10 years from now, that need help. And I'm not Alex Hormozi. I can't show you how to become a billionaire, but I can help somebody get started. I can help somebody who's down and out, or who's too old to realize, like, those gifts that you think you might have, that you're starting to realize that they're not common sense to other people, that other people just don't naturally have those same visions and abilities and skills that you have. Those are really special things that you need to be serving other people with. And in fact, every day that you delay you're doing a disservice to the people that you were put here to help. And so I think once you're aware of that spiritual side, you have this strong conviction and understanding that it's not just about you. It's not just about the money. It's about who you can help and how you can help them with the gifts that you have. And so it becomes this game of constantly getting better and figuring out how to eat better, figuring out how to go to the gym better and be more efficient with your time, that really never ends. I don't think there's a destination on any of those three pillars for myself. And so for me, I'm really fortunate. I do have a strong spiritual group of people in my life where I can talk to them about what's going on in terms of my faith and how I'm developing, or even like, I love having people that I can talk to and be like, hey, you know what? I found this Buddhist principle and I'm really angry with God right now. I'm really questioning my spiritual faith, my Christianity, and I'm struggling with that, right? And like, I can go and talk to people and they don't judge me. And I think that's a really important thing to do, is like, how can you know how valuable something is to you if you never question it? For me, I have to be able to question something, to pull on my beliefs of it, to let my resistance down a little bit. I'm a car person, like maybe some of you are. And if you just are blindly defending your favorite car just because it's the coolest one and you don't have any stats or any passion other than the way that it's designed, it's not very valuable. And so I find that having the depth in my spiritual faith in that particular relationship, or even my friend relationships, it's constantly going through this process, not constantly, but when things are really hard and I'm not sure why certain things are happening to me, or they seem to be happening to me, to go through that process of questioning it. Has this ever let me down before? Where has it helped me in the past? Where am I going with it? Why is this stuff happening to me? And what's really crazy is going through that process has helped me realize so many of the most hideous things that have happened to me in life were really such a blessing in disguise. And I know that's probably not a mystery to most of you, but like going through a separation, divorce situation, splitting houses and doing all this stuff, having my mom have breast cancer 3 times, being told I wasn't good enough to go to college, like so many things that have happened have been huge blessings, and not even so much in disguise. Like, they're pretty obvious, especially when you have the hindsight to look back. But even as I have gotten older, I start to see things happen, and it's like I'm seeing them happen in slow motion, and I don't understand all the pieces to things right away, but they start to make sense that, like, wow, this is such an opportunity to have this experience and to be going through this thing and to be facing this hurdle, because I can see how it's going to level up me to fight the boss at the next level that I want to get to. So those are some of the tools that I've used to create the virtual environment to begin for myself, and then how that's manifested into a physical environment. And I certainly hope it continues to do so. I think the one last thing I would leave you guys with is if you're in a situation where you're really remote, or you're a younger person and you don't have the environment of billionaire 2 Comma Club entrepreneurs that are surrounding you, start there. Start with surrounding yourself with people that inspire you, with people that push you. Start to let go maybe of some of your limiting beliefs. Start to expand your mind. Start to ask better questions. Well, what if this works out? Well, what if what they're saying is true? And what will happen is the environment that you physically find yourself in will start to change. But the one last thing I wanted to leave you with is, if you have the opportunity to, I think it is good to change your physical environment, to switch up your physical location. I think it's really good to get out of your day-to-day routine, maybe travel somewhere, maybe go somewhere and try to expand your mind by getting out of your physical day-to-day, your physical environment, your physical routine. That can really help you break certain patterns and pathways that you might otherwise have a hard time beating if you're just there constantly all the time. And so for me, I didn't really have the money to do that, but I was fortunate enough to have friends that I could visit with and people that loved me enough to let me spend time with them. So that is what I would first recommend for those of you that are confined to maybe a limiting location, or you have a limited friend group, or you have maybe not the healthiest lifestyle choices or whatever. Start with surrounding yourself with what you believe to be the right things that can get you to the next level, and figure out how you can physically bring those things, manifest those things into your life. Hope this helps.